Welcome to Fab Talk with Trish M, prophet, pastor, teacher, CEO of Trish M Enterprises, author, wife, mother, and your podcast host. If you're ready for the word, the way, and the truth, then this podcast is for you. Get ready for another level in the things of God, motivation, inspiration, and empowerment that's going to catapult you to new dimensions. Hold on tight. It's time for Fab Talk with your girl, Trish M. Night with the King Marriage Ball 2024. Special guest, Pastor Sean and Prophetess LaShonda Jones, Pastors Derek and Trish Morissette, and saxophonist Jerry Robbins. Get ready for an absolutely amazing night filled with fabulous decor, wonderful atmosphere, delicious food. Oh my goodness. If you're ready to empower your relationship, your marriage to go to another level, then you need to be at this ball. Saturday, November 2nd from 6 to 9 p.m. at the North Shelby Library in Hoover, Alabama. Early bird registration is only $97 if you register by September 30th and $147 if you register by October 31st. Music, dancing, catered food, upscale decor, professional photos, marriage talk sessions, divine connections, and fun fellowship. It's going to be powerful. If you are married, engaged, or dating seriously, then this is the ball for you. Get ready to grow. Get ready to love on another level. Get ready to be the man or the woman of God that He has called you to be for such a time as this. Don't miss out. This marriage ball is exactly what you need. Hello, everybody. Happy fabulous day to you. It's your girl Trish M checking in with Fab Talk with your girl Trish M. Thank you so much for tuning in to the podcast. You could have been anywhere else in the whole wide world, but God said, nope, you got to listen to your girl Trish M, where I give you the word, the way, and the truth, the good in the hood, the real deal, Holyfield. Listen, I give you whatever it is that the Lord has placed in my heart to share for such a time as this. And I'm super excited. Listen, before I move on, if y'all would share this broadcast, tag someone, let them know that I'm live and I got a dynamic word for you. Yep, a word that's going to help you get your whole life. Y'all say whole life. Whole life, okay? So y'all talk back to me on today because we're going to be talking about vision. But before we do, y'all listen, if y'all have not registered for the Night with the King Marriage Ball 2024, it's going to be November 2nd, okay? November 2nd, which is next Saturday. You need to go ahead. Like, if you are married, if you are engaged, if you are dating seriously, and you want to know what it takes, if you want to get empowered to take your relationship to another level where y'all can grow together, walk in unity, walk in love, walk in whatever it is that God has for you. This is the ball for you. Look good, feel good, and let your relationship be good, okay? Okay, because that's how we doing it. That's how we doing it, okay? All right, y'all. And you can check it out on Eventbrite, HTTPS. That's marriageball2024.eventbrite.com. Marriageball2024.eventbrite.com. Registration is only open for a few more days, okay? Few more days. So we want you to get in where you fit in. You see it's scrolling across your screen how to go and grab your tickets, okay? Tickets. We need y'all to be a part of this dynamic move of God. Like, yeah. Okay, y'all, listen, let's get into this because we got some stuff we're going to get into today, okay? It is on because as we get ready to finish this year out strong. We still got, a few months left in this last quarter of the year. But I want to empower you on today to figure out. What do you want your life to look like in this last going into your new year? How are we going to finish strong? How are we going to go to another level? How are we going to evaluate where we are right now so that we can be who God needs us to be? So today's podcast is the power of vision. The power of vision. Okay. Listen, we know how important it is for us to have a vision. We know how important it is for us to know where we're going. Listen, I'm just here to remind you of some stuff. If we're believing God for next level, if we're going to do this on the next level, I need y'all to get a vision together. That's right, me included. Revamp, and some of you are like, I didn't write a vision. Da, da, da. Write it again, honey. Let me tell you, go back and write something else or edit, revamp what you put the last time. Because what we need to do is need to get refreshed. Come on, y'all. We need to get refreshed on who God needs us to be for this time and this season. So I'm gonna give you some keys and the power to writing your vision, to the power to writing your vision, the power to ending this thing strong. Key number one is you got to write the vision for clarity and focus. You got to get refocused as you get ready to end this year strong. You got to get clarity. You got to get your understanding in all you're getting. Come on, y'all. The Bible says we got to get some understanding. But let's take this to Habakkuk 2, verses 2 through 3. Very common scripture. It says, Then the Lord replied, Write down the vision or the revelation and make it plain on tablets so that a herald can run with it. What is the point here? Writing down the vision gives clarity. He said, make it plain. I need to bring you back. I need you to get back to the foundation of who you are, where you're going. Make it plain. You know, this is going to give you clarity on what's next, on where you're going, on what your expectations are. This is your clarity. It enables you to articulate the message or the direction God is giving you in a way that others can follow it. You know, one of the things that makes someone a good leader is that they make it plain where they're leading people to. So you got to make sure that you're making it plain to you first where you plan on leading yourself. Okay. Where are you planning on leading yourself this last quarter? Write that vision, make it plain. What is it going to look like? Man, I got so many thoughts in my head of how I want to end this year strong so that my 2025 can look a certain kind of way. So listen, do it. We're going to do this together. We're going to go back and we're going to articulate a new message. We're going to articulate it in a way that we know exactly where we're trying to lead ourselves. And that if our spouse, if our family, if our friends can read it, they can clearly understand it. There's no confusion. They understand the direction that you're trying to go. So write it, make it plain so others can follow it. And because what this does is this keeps us focused and it reminds us of God's promises. Like we got to be reminded. I tell my sister all the time, listen, even the best of us need a reminder. Even the most organized of us sometimes will need a reminder. Listen, this is who you are. This is what God has for you. This is where God wants to take you. This is what your bank account is about to look like. This is what your relationship status is about to look like. This is what your house is. Come on, somebody. You just need a reminder of what it looked like. Okay, what it looked like. This is what it looked like. Okay, this is what it looked like. You got to remind yourself of what it looks like. All right. Even though it lingers, wait for the revelation. All right. For the revelation awaits an appointed time. It speaks of the end and will not prove false. Though it linger, wait for it will surely come and will not delay. So you're getting clarity. You're reminding yourself of where you're going, and you're reminding yourself that even if there is a delay, this is what it looked like. Okay, Trish, this is what it look like. This is what it look like. Hey, create you a song, girl. I could create a song off anything. This is what it look like. Okay, this is where we're going, and this is what we're doing. Remind yourself. All right. Nobody can create the vision for you. You have to know in your heart of hearts and in your knowing of knowings that this is what it look like. Okay. And after you write the vision, this little song, this little jingle I got in my head, after you write that vision, I dare you to say it out loud. This is what it look like. Okay. Trish, this is what it look like. All right. We ready. We ready. We going to do this. The second thing, and the power of writing vision, it aligns the vision with God's will. So now that you've written a vision, you got to make it make sense with God. All right. So in Proverbs 16:9, it says, in their hearts, humans plan their course, but the Lord establishes their steps. So why do we got to align this with God's will? Because we're going to write it out. Right? We're going to write it out, but the Lord is the one that's going to direct our paths. The Lord is the one that's going to give us the steps that we need to take. The Lord, somebody say the Lord. Yes, him. The Lord is going to be the one that's going to direct the steps to show us and give us even more clarity on where we need to be, how we need to go, how we need to make it happen. Our vision should always be aligned with God's will. We can make plans, but they must be submitted to God's guidance for them to succeed. So writing a vision helps us to seek and understand God's direction. So after you write that vision, be like, okay, now Lord, if anything on here is not in alignment with you, give me confirmation, give me clarity, give me an understanding, give me exactly what I need. Because what we don't want to do is we don't want to go outside of the will of the Father, because we'll find ourselves connected and attached to places and things, even people that we should not be attached to. So after we write this new thing, okay, this is what it look like. Now we be like, God, is this what it gonna look like? Because we got the vision, but we got to make sure we are submitting it to the Father, right? Submitting it to the Father and saying, now, Lord, if I miss something, help your girl out. If I miss something, come on, somebody. If I miss, see, sometimes we forget that part. We forget that part because in our head, we got it all figured out. In our head, we know that we know that we know. But the Lord is saying, hold up, wait, listen. Okay, the Lord is like, okay, let's make sure that your 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 I's are dotted and your T's are crossed, meaning that this has the blessings of the Lord on it. So that's all we're doing. We're making sure that even though we write the vision, we still want it to be in alignment with the will of our Father. The third thing, third power behind vision, it it creates commitment and accountability. If I write it down, that gives me a chance to commit to what I write. And it also holds me accountable to what I write and to what I see, to what I submit unto my Father. Proverbs 16:3 says, commit to the Lord whatever you do, and he will establish your plans. So we got to understand that when we write down the vision, uh, it represents a commitment. When we place it before God, what we do is we invite him to establish and bless our commitment, bless our plan. So it keeps us accountable to what God has revealed to us. And then so as we submit it to God and we be like, okay, God, is this in alignment with your way and your will and your truth? Because it's not, I want to know. So that's saying I'm not just accountable to what I wrote, but I want to make sure that I'm accountable to what my Father has for me. And so we're committing to what we write, um, and we're being accountable to what we say and what we say we want to see, and making sure that it is in alignment with the Father's will. Here's the fourth power behind this. Vision brings life and direction. Vision brings life, but it also brings direction. That's a power behind vision. Proverbs 29:18. Where there is no vision, the people perish. But he that keepeth the law, happy is he. Oh my gosh. All right. So we have to understand that when that uh, writing a vision refreshes us, right? it gives us direction, it gives us purpose, but without it, we feel lost. We feel like we're haphazardly living. We don't even have a motivation for life. But let me tell you something. When you have a vision, when you know that you know that you know, you'll get that pep in your step. You'll remember your why. You'll remember why you're doing what you're doing, because you understand the picture is so much bigger, and you're not going to allow the enemy to come in to steal, kill, and destroy it, because you got a vision. You submitted that vision unto the Lord. You committed to that vision. You're being accountable for that vision. And so you're not going to allow a situation, a circumstance, a group of people, whatever it is, to rob you of the vision. The vision is always bigger than you. But if you lose sight of it, then you lose your motivation. You lose a sense of living, a sense of purpose. So writing the vision ensures that you're going to stay on course, that you're going to live with your purpose in your heart, and you're going to seek God's guidance to help you manifest that thing. And so you're submitted, you're committed, and you're ready for the manifestation. The fifth power of having that vision is waiting on the fulfillment of the vision. The fulfillment of the vision brings power, but you got to wait. You got to make sure that you wait. Isaiah 40:31. But those who hope in the Lord will renew their strength. They will soar on wings like eagles. They will run and not get weary. They will walk and not be faint. All right. God will strengthen you in your waiting period, but you got to trust Him, because you got to understand you're not trusting in the vision. You're trusting in the one that can manifest the vision. You're giving it to God. You're trusting in God, and you're not letting go. I remember waiting on a vision. Many of you know, for 8 years, I tarried to try to have children. I tarried and I cried and I fasted and I prayed. And every time that, now listen, that doesn't mean that you're not going to get weak in trying to manifest vision, because it says those that hope in the Lord will renew their strength. God knew that you and we were going to get weak in trying to do what He has called us to do and trying to manifest glory for our lives. He knew we were going to get weak, but He promised us He will renew our strength. I remember waiting those 8 years, and I would get so weak. At times I got depressed, but it was always God who lifted me out of the rut, who picked me up and said, daughter, I got you. Just don't allow the enemy to consume you with his thoughts, because he's going to make you think that you have been waiting for all these years and nothing's manifested. He said, but you got to show that you could persevere and that you can hold on, and you cannot stop trusting and believing that God got your back, He got your front, and He got your side. Trust in God, waiting on the fulfillment. You will be strengthened and you will be empowered. The sixth power is you got to have faith in God's timing, because listen, He can strengthen you in your wait, but you got to remind yourself that you have to have faith in His timing and not yours. See, if it was up to me, I would have had kids the first year I tried. But God was building something up on the inside of me. He was building something up on the inside of me that He knew others needed. He knew that others needed to hear about my perseverance. He knew that others needed to hear about my willingness to endure, to overcome depression, to overcome anxiety, to overcome fear. He knew I needed to go through all of that, because He knew I was coming out on the other side with the vision that I had placed in my heart. So in Hebrews 11:1, one of my favorite scriptures is, now faith is the substance or the confidence in what we hope for and the assurance of what we do not see. So when you write the vision, you got to have faith now for it. Come on, y'all. Now faith. You got to have faith now in the moment of writing it, that even after you wrote it, something happened and triggered a sense of doubt. You got to remind yourself, no, now faith is the confidence in what I hope for and the assurance of what I do not see. My now faith is going to manifest glory in my now life. Come on, somebody. And so, yeah, if it was up to me, I would have done it a lot quicker, but God knew best. So we got to understand that. I got to say this and I got to say it loud. You cannot have vision without faith. Faith and vision are connected. They have to walk hand in hand like siblings or like a couple. If faith is the wife, then vision is the husband. They have to connect and they have to walk together hand in hand. Even if the vision hasn't manifested, writing it down shows confidence in God's ability to bring it to pass in His perfect timing. So your faith has to, your vision has to marry faith so that it can manifest God. Your vision has to marry faith so that it can manifest God. It's really, really simple, but it can be very, very trying and be very testing at times. Here's another power behind writing the vision. A power is sharing the vision. There is power in sharing the vision. Now we know you can't share your vision with everybody, but the Bible does clearly tell us that people are going to see your vision is going to be shared. Where do I get that from? Nehemiah 2:17 and 18. Then I said to them, you see the trouble we are in? Jerusalem lies in ruins and its gates have been buried with fire. Come, let us rebuild the wall of Jerusalem, and we will no longer be in disgrace. I also told them about the gracious hand of my God on me and what the king has said to me. And they replied, let us start rebuilding. So they began this good work. And so Nehemiah was in a situation where, you know, he was looking at something that was very, very hard. But one thing that he knew, that God gave him a vision to rebuild. God gave him a vision to redo some things. And with that, he had to share it with people because he knew that this vision was so much bigger than him. This vision, he needed more hands. He needed more resources. He needed more feet. He needed more mouths. He knew that the vision was so much bigger than him that he had to open his mouth. He had to share what God had placed in his heart to do. A closed mouth doesn't get fed. Nehemiah, there's no telling how long it would have taken Nehemiah to redo that vision by himself, which was the wall, to rebuild the wall for Israel, right? By himself, it would have taken ages. But because Nehemiah simply opened up his mouth, because he shared it with people that he believed could help him, they came in agreement with his vision and they ran with it. The scripture says they replied, hey, let us start building. And he's in his word says, so they began this good work. What is the good work? The very thing that God placed in Nehemiah's heart, the vision that God had given him. His vision aligned with God's vision. He got power behind sharing the vision with people who could help him manifest glory in his life. Again, a closed mouth does not get fed. You got to be bold enough to share your vision, but to share it with the right people. And the last power that I want to give you in the vision, there is power in reviewing and revisiting the vision. That's right. You got to review it and you got to revisit it because that brings power. Commit your way to the Lord, trust in Him, and He will do this. Continually revisiting the written vision, it keeps it fresh. It keeps it before your eyes. It keeps, even on your worst days, if you go back to the vision, even on your hardest days, go back to your vision. Your vision will remind you of your why, and it will make you want to keep it moving, Susan. It will make you want to not give up. You will keep it fresh in your heart. You will keep it fresh in your mind. You will allow God to realign you when you get off. Why? Because you put it before you. You see it. You're reminded of where you're going. And that helps you to adjust your stinking thinking, adjust the doubt, adjust the fear, adjust the worry. You can make the adjustments if you simply go back and review it. Go back and revisit it. Go back and do what needs to be done. So I'm challenging everyone under the sound of my voice. Let's write a new vision so that we can end this year strong and we can manifest the glory. Let's write a new vision. Let's declare and decree some things, and let's submit that thing to God, because as we do all of this, it's going to bring power. It's going to manifest glory. So one, the power in the vision, you got to write it so that you can get the clarity and you can get the focus that you need to end the year strong. The second thing, you got to submit it to God. You got to make sure you're aligning the vision with the will of God. The third power, it brings commitment. It brings accountability. You got something that you're saying, look, I'm committed to this. It's on paper. It's holding me accountable. I'm going to do what I said I was going to do. It is making you be a woman of your word. It's making you be a man of your word. The fourth power, vision brings life and brings direction, right? Anybody that's depressed, they lost sight of vision. Anybody that's worried, they're losing sight of vision. Because let me tell you, the Bible says we perish when we lose sight of vision. Vision is going to keep you living and going hard. It's going to keep you going in the direction that God desires for you to go. There is power in that vision. Vision is going to keep you patient. It's going to help you to walk in that fruit of the spirit called patience or long suffering. Nobody wants to suffer long, but there is power in the waiting. Where's the power coming from? Because God told us that he will renew our strength. He's saying, listen, I got you. Just faith this thing out. I'm going to renew your strength when you get weary in your well-doing. I'm going to remind you of your why. I'm going to redirect your paths. I'm going to cause things to come into alignment. Listen, waiting brings power because it manifests God's strength. It's renewed in you, and it helps you have faith in God's timing. Vision is going to remind you, you got to have now faith if you're going to win. Now faith is the substance of what you're hoping for and the evidence of what you can't see. And let me tell you, there's power when you share the vision with the right people. A closed mouth doesn't get fed. And last but not least, reviewing and revisiting it reminds you of your why. It reminds you that this vision is necessary because you are necessary. Your next level is necessary. All of this is necessary. You just got to faith it until you make it. That's right. Faith it until you make it. Listen, I'm going to get out of here. I pray that blessed you. Share this, tag someone that didn't tune in, but needs to go back and hear the recording. Tag someone and let them know, hey, this is for you. Let's write this vision, me and you together. Let's talk through it. Let's get a realization of some things. This is imperative, right? You want to know one of the things that successful people do that one of the habits is they are visionaries. They're writing visions. They're figuring out how to make things happen. They are visionaries. And listen, you are too. I am too. So let's pull that notebook out. Let's pull that phone out and your notepad and your phone or your iPad, whatever it is. Let's get to writing. Thank you again for tuning in. If you have not given me a rating on Apple Podcasts, please, please, please give me a 5-star rating. This helps me to be shared with the world and people get the message of God. All right. So Apple Podcasters, y'all, give your girl a 5-star rating. Thank y'all for tuning in. I'm going to get out of here, but I'll be back next week with another fabulous episode of Fab Talk with your girl, Trish M. Thanks for tuning in to Fab Talk with Trish M. Do your girl a favor. Share this broadcast on all your social media platforms. Invite a friend to tune in. Help this podcast reach the nation. We all need Jesus, y'all. You sharing this broadcast helps me to reach the masses. If I'm blessing you, then bless your girl back. Share the broadcast. Give me a 5-star rating on Apple Podcasts. I got work to do. for the king, and I need your help. I appreciate you tuning in to this segment. I'm looking forward to rocking with you on the next episode of Fab Talk with your girl, Trish M.